Live from Maiden Bay, ABC Columbia News at 6.
God has had his hand on us, so we all good. All these things can be replaced.
We all good. Picking up the pieces after a tornado and what they call a microburst after they do damage here in the Midlands. Good evening, I'm Ben Hoover.
And I'm Alicia Barnes. We're going to have much more on the cleanup effort in just a minute. But first, let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
John, a lot of people concerned about tornadoes and funnel clouds the past 24 hours. Can you tell us just what is a microburst? We've heard you say it before.
Yeah, certainly. And that's when we talk about these thunderstorms, these line of thunderstorms that go by. They can cause all kinds of problems, and they produce these different bursts. You've heard these terms: downburst, macroburst, microburst. It's all about the size. A downburst is medium, a macroburst is big, and a microburst is smaller. So what does that mean? Well, let's show you what happens here. The story is this. We all learned in, 7th or 8th grade that warm air rises, but just as warm air rises, cold air sinks. And that's what happens in these situations. The air sinks, and as it hits the ground, it spreads out really quickly, and you can get gusts as high as 150 miles an hour out of these things. So think of it like if you take a hose and you squirt it on the sidewalk in the summertime. The water comes down at a certain rate, but once it hits the sidewalk, it goes, and that's where you get the damaging winds, and that's what we had out there in Stedman yesterday. Gusts by the National Weather Service determined to be about 70 miles an hour. Now let's give you a visual of how this is. Check this out. This is a picture actually in succession. Now look at that. That's a pocket of cold air. There's rain in there, and watch what happens. It continues to come to the ground, and boom, when it hits the ground here, it spreads out, and that's where the damaging winds come in. I'll throw it to you one more time. There it is. First picture, second picture, third picture, and again, that's where you get the damaging winds coming out the side of this thing. So that's what a microburst is, and that's what we had around here yesterday. So again, whenever we talk about these severe thunderstorms, you can get some pretty bad winds out of them, and that's why we always want to keep you updated on what's going on. Now, in terms of our weather out there tonight, very little. There is no threat of any bursts, maybe starbursts, but that's it. There's nothing going on tonight. Notice we have just some green, a little bit of rain pushing off toward the coast, and that's going to do it. So clearing skies headed our way. More on that forecast coming up.
All right, John, and just to echo what John just said, the National Weather Service confirms a microburst in Lexington County during yesterday's severe storms.
Yeah, ABC Columbia's Jennifer Reddy spoke with a local business who's cleaning up today after the high winds left them with severe damage.
The microburst directly hit Tracy's Logging here in Batesburg, Leesville, and this roof that used to cover a shed is just one sign of the damage left from Wednesday's storm. Crews work to clean up the debris scattered across Tracy's Logging. The National Weather Service says the microburst that hit the area packed 70-mile-per-hour winds, strong enough to leave its mark.
When I looked out, you can see the old chicken house over there. All of a sudden, it's like it come down, just the tin started swirling off up, debris started flying, and like it was coming across the field. And when I saw this shed here on my uncle's, I saw it hit the ground.
Jody Gunter says the microburst lasted about 30 seconds.
I could hear the tin and debris and stuff like that, and 10, 15 seconds after I was in the hallway, it just got quiet.
Left in the silence, a hay shed turned into a pile of wood. This roof once sat on top. Across the property, strips of tin scattered high up in trees, and cars left without windows and dented from debris.
I've spent my lifetime in this place, and I've built buildings, and you realize how temporary those things are, and how quickly they can be gone. But at the same time, you ask yourself, well, what do? You pick up the pieces and you go back again.
While they pick up the pieces, owner Tracy Gunter is most thankful for one thing.
Good Lord took care of everybody, and everybody was safe, and we can put the buildings back, but people are a little more precious than that.
As work continues, the owner here at Tracy's Logging tells me he hopes to have everything repaired in the next 6 to 8 weeks. From Batesburg, Leesville, Jennifer Reddy, ABC Columbia News.
All right, thanks, Jen. The victim in this next story worked with children and took part in overseas charity work and was planning to propose to his girlfriend. Well, now 2 people are in custody in connection with his murder. This afternoon, Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook announced Ivan Patterson is charged with the shooting death of Timothy Gentry. And Gentry's body was found near the intersection of Buford Street and River Drive in July of 2015. A second suspect was also arrested in the case. Now, she's accused of purchasing the gun used in the crime and giving it to Patterson.
A 17-year-old has been arrested and is accused of sexually assaulting 2 children tonight. Kershaw County Sheriff Jim Matthews says the reported victim's family members reported the abuse to deputies. Richard Dwayne Hendricks was arrested yesterday and, according to investigators, admitted to assaulting the children as well as 2 other incidents.
An Iraq War veteran is being cheered for fighting off of a criminal. Now, this surveillance video was taken at a gas station in Florida. The military vet was working when police say the robber came in and demanded money. Well, the vet throws the man around. You can see him punching him. The robber then ends up running away. And police are now looking for him. They say that the weapon was determined to be a pellet gun. Very scary moments there.
Yeah.
An investigation into the October incident between a student and a school resource officer at Spring Valley High School continues. But now the Richland 2 School Board wants to hear from students.
This latest idea will allow students to voice their opinions and concerns to the board. ABC Columbia's Beth Rousseau has more on the Richland 2 Student Advisory Council.
Preventing incidents like this one between a Spring Valley High School student and resource officer Ben Fields is a top priority for the Richland 2 School Board.
It was very, very difficult, emotionally very trying, and it was just unfortunate on many levels.
Susan Brill, vice chairman of the board, says video of the incident drew attention from parents locally, nationally, and internationally.
To see a student handled in that sort of way is definitely bothersome as a parent.
But it wasn't just parents, teachers, and community members who had thoughts on the brawl.
Some of the kids did try to, step forward that very day, and then there were other students that were also supportive of the SRO officer. So there were, differences of opinion there.
Hearing those opinions directly from students, that's the purpose of the newly proposed Student Advisory Council.
There's so many decisions that we make that impact the students, and so it's great to hear what is it that would be important to them.
Student representatives from each high school, middle school, and elementary school in the district will make up the council, which will meet with the school board on a regular basis. An idea parents welcome.
We're all there, the school board, the parents, teachers, everybody's there because of the students. And I think it's great that they're taking the opportunity to listen to those voices and those students that, aren't often heard from.
School board members are hoping to have the council approved and the application process complete by the end of this school year so that they can have the council in place at the start of the new year. Reporting in the newsroom, Beth Rousseau, ABC Columbia News.
Thanks, Beth. The IRS is having some trouble with its website, and technical difficulties hit the Internal Revenue Service Wednesday. The agency says that it experienced a hardware failure that brought down some of its tax processing systems, including the one that allows people to file electronically. A spokesperson says that the system was likely to remain down until tomorrow. Taxes aren't due until April the 15th.
Well, Bernie Sanders may be behind in the polls here in South Carolina, but he has a prominent name in his corner. This afternoon, Dick Harpootlian, former chair of the Democratic Party in the state, announced he is endorsing the Vermont senator in the race for the White House. According to the most recent CNN poll, Sanders trails Hillary Clinton by about 29 points. The Democratic primary in South Carolina is February 27th.
Well, one celebrity that is hoping that Hillary Clinton skates away with the nomination is Olympic figure skater Michelle Kwan. She attended a Clinton campaign event at Columbia College today. And Kwan is a 2-time Olympic medalist and a 5-time world champion. She says that Hillary Clinton is ready to build on the progress made by President Barack Obama.
It's been so much fun being able to connect with young voters. They have a real chance to make their voice heard.
Nice to meet you too. And prior to joining the Clinton campaign, Kwan served as a senior advisor for public diplomacy with the United States Department. Wow. All right, up next, the Panthers and the Broncos are gearing up for Super Bowl 50.
And Cocky is gearing up for the Super Bowl of commercials. We'll take you inside a classroom that rates the best of the ads. That's next, live from Main and Gervais.
From Main and Gervais, this is ABC Columbia.